Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Cyber Planet. My name is Karim Chata, and I am your host. Today, we have a very special guest all the way from Uganda. I'm not sure if you guys knew that Uganda had cybersecurity experts, but they do. Our guest is an ICT Security Officer, and he is none other than Peter Elolu. Mr. Peter Karibusana.
Yeah, I don't know how to reply. I don't know what I should say Karibu again, but well, thank you for introducing me, and thank you for that welcome. It was quite warm. I am Peter. I'm definitely a Ugandan, as highlighted by my colleague, and I am an active cybersecurity professional within the country, and definitely working with one of the top banks in the country, and have been doing so for almost the last 4 years, and
Yeah.
have been also doing quite some research into cybersecurity for the past close to 6 years. So I supervise at the organization where I work, and I also do some charity work around majorly strengthening the cybersecurity community locally within the country. I have been able to organize some local CTFs locally and also within East Africa with the support of different teams across the East African community. So I'm
Yeah.
definitely someone who's always looking forward to get to know what new opportunities we have within the cybersecurity space in East Africa, and also share them with fellow Ugandan scholars and fellow
Yeah.
professionals who are always looking out to improve. So that's basically just a summary of myself, and I'm definitely happy to be hosted in this podcast.
We're happy to have you, Mr. Peter. It's an honor because, as I said initially, that I'm not sure if a lot of people know that Uganda have cybersecurity experts, but you being here is a game changer. So we really appreciate it. But with that note, we'd like to understand, how did you get started into cybersecurity?
On my journey, I would say it was just maybe a kiss of fate, I should say, because normally we do find that we're passionate about things very late in our years, I guess, and we always try to divert from maybe other careers and yeah. So on my side, I definitely have a background in telecommunications engineering, and
Okay.
during my study at Makerere University, I definitely had a few chances to, of course, engage with other professionals across during most of the seminars that we had across where we do volunteership to help and guide. Majorly, it was like volunteering work where other professionals within the
Yeah.
different ICT communities would probably come into the country, and they're having like talks about this major changes within the different ecosystems. So it
Okay.
so happened that there was an ICT 4D conference, and there were quite a number of experts normally talking about supply chain, and it was supply chain in the ICT, I would say, domain. But I got to interest myself in one of the talk shows that talked about the future of ICT and also the security bit of it. So out of
Okay.
curiosity, I went to try and research about security, and this was in my second year, and that was quite
Yeah.
some time back. And I got curious and definitely got to find out that there was quite a lot I didn't know about the field, and started pursuing it there and then. So I set up some VMs, I did some research, looked up some um, professionals who are doing it up within the country. I got in touch with different engineers to try and guide me around this very strange path, I should say, at that time. From there, I just started finding myself involved in different cybersecurity communities. I found myself learning about what we call capture the flag
Yeah.
competitions, and
Definitely.
after that, it so happened that during this journey, because at the time CTFs were not really something that was really known across, you would find that it was, I would say, a very rare opportunity because it gave me quite some experience ahead of time, and also enabled me to meet up with so many different passionate people across the East African community. For example, I would say so many of my fellow brothers and freaks. We have also
Yeah.
some people from Tanzania. Yeah,
Yeah.
so funny thing is, this is how I also come to Bichi Karim through the same community. So over time, I found myself, of course, understanding more because you find that when you're just getting started, you're picking up scribbles. You think that maybe cybersecurity is just offensive security, but you get realize that there's so many domains. Then you get realize that there's also governance around implementation of most of these controls and multiple opportunities that people do not really take up into consideration when they're just starting. And
Very true.
like that, the journey kept opening up, and definitely I got to realize that there was quite a lot I didn't know, and definitely had to put in the work over the years. So it's been a
Yeah.
very beautiful journey. Once I, of course, finished university, I was definitely just hooked on how can I get certified within the different offensive security parts, I would say, because you'd find that one of the biggest challenges in getting started in cybersecurity was also the funding, because as much as
Yeah.
we
Very
do
true.
have a lot of content out there, most of it is, I would say, if you actually to put into consideration what we consider exploits or vulnerabilities that are being researched at this time, you would look at what we had back in the day and also the content that's available, and find that most of the stuff that we're looking at is outdated, or were attacks that are probably longer prevalent in most of the systems.
Yeah.
You find that you have to start now learning that there is a very steep learning curve that is tagged to the different domains that you try to learn. So you find yourself in a position whereby you have to make a commitment to continuous self-improvement. And definitely that's basically, I would summarize the whole idea around the learning that comes with cybersecurity.
Yeah.
So once I got the opportunity, I, of course, definitely tried to apply for multiple roles over the years. It was quite frustrating because at that time I was not like certified in any major sets, and
Yeah.
most of the gatekeeping was happening at this time, I would say, because everyone, it was more of like you are serving words for your skill set, and small projects that we had done in terms of how my GitHub was looking. The projects we had done, the research, most of that is what carry weight, because there was like baselines to security job in terms of certifications, in terms of qualifications. And of course, if you didn't have the CH at the time, you would definitely not be finding yourself with a job. So I didn't really give up because I got to realize that there's so many opportunities, and there was an opportunity that came around with the cyber talents over the years. Cyber talents has been a major building block for most of the junior roles, and most of
Yeah.
the people who are actually getting in cybersecurity, because it provided a platform at the time where individuals could actually try to solve challenges over the years. And you find that you get to discover which other people within your country are also trying to pursue this path, which people within the East African community are pursuing this path. And if you're able
Yeah.
to get hands-on with your small community, you'd find yourself learning so much more. And I remember the sleepless nights. It was
Very true.
crazy because it's so often that when I look at, for example, sorry to say this, because when I look at the amount of effort the new people who are really putting into cybersecurity are putting in terms
Yeah.
of where they want to get, it's very little compared to what most of the people I know at the time did back in the day. Because You'd find
Yeah.
people randomly jumping on a call for 8 hours troubleshooting some very random bug that no one has no idea about, but people are researching, people are contributing, and at the end of the night, it would be like, oh yeah, this is what we did, and yeah. So when I look at where most of the team, most of the people I've known over the years have gotten into, and how the cybersecurity journey has been for most of us, I would
Yeah.
say it has been a steep learning curve, but definitely
Okay.
one worth it, and definitely looking forward to learning much more that it provides over the years.
Now, you mentioned a lot of things at once. So one of them, you mentioned that your background was in telecommunication and engineering, right?
Yes.
So was that directly after you finished uni is when you got into telecommunication and engineering, and then later you shift to cybersecurity, or what was the dynamics?
Ideally, I went into uni knowing that I got a going that I'm knowing that I'm studying telecommunications, and
Okay.
definitely telecommunications, I would say, provided a very strong background for me in regard to cybersecurity path, because we all
Yeah.
definitely know that one of the core domains that you need to have when you're actually digging into cybersecurity, if you're looking at it from the technical bit, is your
Yeah.
networks. You need to have a solid understanding of networks, and definitely telecommunications provided me with this stepping stone to start,
Yeah.
because I would not be really maybe like trying to dissect things under the OSI model, because I already definitely knew what was going on. So it was more of patching up what I definitely did not have, and trying to get a hold of it. So I did, of course, study uni, but as remember, as I told you, I picked up my interest in my second year of university, and definitely
Yeah.
that's how I went through the path while studying also my engineering.
Now it seems that it's not a must for you to directly land a role in cybersecurity. You can also be in other domains first in technology rather, and then later on transition to cybersecurity. It's still going to be an advantage to you. So I think that's a note for everybody to take. Now, currently, you are an ICT supervisor at a very major organization there in Uganda. Now, focusing on your role, what is the primary responsibilities and objectives of your position?
Well, I would say supervising security operations, definitely looking at SOC related responsibilities, and
Okay,
of course, the main objective being to give assurance to the business of its security position.
okay. And now, moving to some of the requirements of these roles, what are the key skills and qualifications are needed for this role?
Normally, I always laugh at this question in regards to qualifications, because it's a very deep question that requires
Okay,
critical analysis, majorly around if we go visit skill versus certification,
okay.
history that has befallen us over the years.
Yeah, true.
When we look at the key skill sets, I definitely look at it's a role that requires knowledge in multiple domains across the ICT,
Yeah,
across ICT. Definitely, you need a strong understanding of Linux and Windows. Advanced, I would say you should have advanced knowledge around Linux and Windows OS, I guess. And then,
yeah,
of course, you also need to understand incident response. You need to definitely have a thorough understanding of your infrastructure. That means we're looking at secure architecture design in this case, and then
okay,
also we look at definitely understanding DevSecOps, because of course there's some you're looking at being integrated into the software development lifecycle of the organization, where you're expected to deliver on the security side. So those are like the key critical skill sets that I would look at. Then you would definitely look at, of course, you need to have defensive capabilities. In this case, being able to manage and plan for the team, because you have to be involved in budgeting and
yeah,
definitely management of the team. So in terms of qualifications, I would say it's experience, 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 because most of the technical qualifications that we get, I would
Yeah.
say, rely around our experience and vast knowledge around most of these domains. Because someone can ask you about a very simple, logical question while testing whether
Yeah.
you build experience around that problem. And from there, you can easily tell whether someone has actually been in the problem or they have just read through the problem before prior. So to be
Yeah.
qualified to be able to run the role, you definitely need to have both offensive and defensive capabilities, and also
Okay.
the ability to manage a team.
To the best of my understanding, this is a very technical role. Now, having that in mind, what are some of the certifications needed for this role?
I would say without, of course, the general certifications that we look at. Uh, for example, you need to have, of course, a fundamental understanding around cybersecurity. So I would not look at it as I would not want to gatekeep and say that this role is cut out to have these specific certifications. Because the role majorly looks at technical capacity of the person that's doing the work, and definitely you have some vendor-based recommendations, but
Yeah.
also, of course, some generic knowledge or some generic certifications that could get you there. Because you probably look at having like a network computer network security plus security plus then the cybersecurity analyst. All
Yeah.
those are from the CompTIA side. And then if you're looking at the technicals, you would look at maybe having a professional certification, in this case, professional pen testing certification, to guide,
Okay.
of course, during the assessments for the organization. And then also, if you're looking at defense, maybe you would need to have a defensive related certification. So
Yeah.
on our take, we've always preferred yeah, ECVV2 for the offensive side. We of
Okay.
course do also encourage individuals to take up SATs, like for example OACP. We
Yeah.
definitely encourage these individuals to be able to solve most of the problems, because most of our team is built on highly technical individuals, I would say, because we
Yeah.
do have our own in-house tabletop exercises that we run to ensure that we have the team pursuing the latest threats and knowledgeable within these different domains.
Yeah. Very
So,
true.
if it's my take on certifications, I know that most of the people, I would say, have this question of which certification is better than which certification. But
Yeah.
over the years, we definitely look for plug and play.
Okay.
What we are looking for when we say this is we're looking for individuals that require, of course, minimum polishing when you're looking at some of the organizations that individuals work, because there's some individual organizations that do not have time, I would say, yeah, to
Mm.
train teams to
Yeah.
polish them to the level that they need, because of the amount of risk that it comes with most of the roles in this case. So depending on certifications, I would say my take is if you have the money for a certification and you can afford it, definitely you could take up most of the certifications that we've highlighted, because at least they provide a solid fundamentals for you around getting into most of the junior roles. And then from there
Yeah.
you can customize your own path depending on what you actually want to achieve.
Okay.
Because most times, as I said, individuals come up with this whole certificate. We look at certifications from the offensive and defensive side, but we need to know that there are multiple certifications. You could land yourself a role where there is an opportunity for you to grow, and you need to take up some specific certification that is probably not within your personal path. And these are more of what I would look at as the vendor-based certifications, because, for example, you're managing a SIM, to be able to justify your knowledge around the specific configuration and management of this SIM, you'd probably recommend that you have like a certification around that SIM, or for example, around some CI/CD tool. You do the same thing. So
Yeah.
I believe certification should be customized to what path people are taking and not limited just to generic, because over the time we find that some of the certifications train a closed mindset, and yet you find that the problem solving that actually comes out in the real world is actually very open and needs people whose problem solving skills are really high. So that's
Yeah.
my personal take on certifications.
Okay. Now, I've talked to a lot of people throughout the years while working in this industry, and most of them mention one thing in common, that a lot of cybersecurity experts don't have soft skills. That's the major problem, apart from the technical bit. Now, does your role require an individual to have soft skills, and what are they?
Yeah, definitely. This is a supervisor role, and you're definitely managing teams, and you need to be able to have some emotional intelligence and have very good communication skills around most of the people, because these are very stressful. I would say they're very stressful roles. You find people you need to help be able to read the room, because in a scenario you can easily lead to you can find your teams are burning out when you're actually not paying attention, when you're actually
Yeah.
just looking at achieving a specific objective. So you need to be able to give support in terms of a listening ear, and also, of course, guidance. Because one thing is, you find that most times, I would say, when you find very technical people, sometimes you find that they have learned the way I told you, I highlighted earlier on and told you that the problem solving skills, people need to be able to adapt. So you find that, for example, someone learned in a specific training that this is how maybe you approach a specific problem, but you're
Yeah.
looking at the turnaround time as being something very high, and maybe you have automated a process around it. You need to be able to relay and give that information in regards why you would choose option A over B, without actually
Okay.
making the person feel like they do not know what they're doing. Because most times, these, as I say, these roles, they're very demanding, and as long as you know how to communicate to people, it's something that this role requires a lot, because you're not only just communicating to your team, but of course there's also stakeholder management, where you have to relay information up and down, basically looking at
Yeah.
you're responding to the chiefs. You have to be able to break down complex situations in a
Yeah.
much more understandable C-suite kind of manner. So that's also something that is definitely something that you need to have for this role.
You've been on this role for several years right now. What are some of the challenges that you've managed to face?
Without going into so much detail,
Yeah.
definitely, I would say one of my biggest challenges was transitioning into, because this is more of like a people management role. Um,
Yeah.
People are a very complex component within the security ecosystem, and we find that to learn how to be able to understand why people, how people do specific things, you need to be able to be very patient, I should say. And
Yeah.
that's something I had to learn over the years. You need to be able to understand that, of course, if you're working in a multicultural organization, you don't expect everyone to have like an ideal way of doing things. And
Yeah.
once you're able to, of course, look at it from that point of view, then you actually get to understand how you get to, of course, look at your risk in terms of people, because um, people are, for example, not everyone is cybersecurity cautious. So you need to
Yeah.
account for also those individuals. And once you're able to do that, you're definitely going to start having the idea of how am I able to relay the information I have and knowledge. to share with these different personnels how they should probably approach their daily cybersecurity habits. And you find
Yeah.
that over the years, as we've highlighted both in statistics and all, we of course have a lot of risk originating from people. And once we're able to understand how people management comes into play, and of course how to navigate most of the challenges that come with them, it's something that I have really been able to appreciate, because
Yeah.
it's been a very difficult thing. Because, for example, you set up a control, the control is working properly, and definitely some user X thinks that maybe they have a better way of a faster way of delivering, and they're
Yeah.
definitely looking for a way around most of these controls. And then you have to look into, it's more of like a rat and mouse kind of thing. Of course, there are
Yeah.
definite challenges that come up with the role in regards to delivery, but
Yeah.
once you get to understand the core weaknesses around implementations of most of the controls around these different organizations and roles that we do, then you get to really
Yeah.
appreciate the importance of being able to communicate effectively and efficiently to the people that you're definitely serving in this case.
Okay, that's an interesting take from you, especially on some of the challenges. But what you just said, it's totally true. These are some of the technicalities that people face in their role, especially as an ICT um, security supervisor. So definitely that's something people should have at the back. So Mr. Peter, going to the next question, how can somebody get to the level of ICT supervisor if they wanted to pursue this role anyway?
Um, well, I would say it's definitely gain a lot of experience across multiple domains.
Okay.
Understand application security to the core. Have some knowledge, some vast knowledge around network security. Have knowledge around risk management. Definitely, we're looking at governance, risk and compliance,
Okay.
and of course, have a solid understanding of secure architecture design. And then, of course, you need to have, I would say, vast experience around database management.
Okay.
You're looking at, of course, vulnerability management, incident response, and definitely some IT cores like change management, because
Yeah.
these are things, of course, you need to understand. So
Mhm.
it's quite a demanding role, but of
Yeah.
course, technically, that would be I would say, the light areas around majorly what you do. And then, of
Okay.
course, you have to, of course, have very good communication skills, as I raised early,
Yeah.
and of course, have some very good certifications down the road, because for you to be able to vet your technical capacities, of course, there are certificates that we need to have. At least, maybe we're looking at OCP, you're looking at general sats, the fundamentals that I told you, the CompTIA sats. I have not heard of this role really requiring CEH, but I think it would be something that you would probably need one day or another,
Yeah.
depending on the role. It's a very open role, and of course, it inclines around management, and
Okay.
definitely it's something that would require some people management skills.
Okay.
Yeah, so that would be it, because as I said, it's I would say you need to treat security like an addiction.
Well,
Because
that's true.
you have to keep up. You have to keep up. There is a lot of demands, both up and down, as I said, and
Yeah.
you have to be able to I would say to meet up to the expectations of the different stakeholders that you're working with.
Okay. And from our conversation from the beginning up to now, I came to understand that you are a very, very busy man and you have a lot of things going on, from tapping to the technical skills with GRC, etc. Like you're doing a lot of things at once. So, having that in mind, how do you stay up to date with this ever evolving cybersecurity threats?
Well, of course, the first thing, of course, I do participate in so many open threat exchanges, definitely, and
Okay.
you, of course, you're able to. I would wake up in the morning definitely and look at what new intelligence we are getting in terms of cybersecurity threats, and then I map out these possible occurrences if they could, if the organization I support could easily be affected. And
Okay.
once I'm getting a feel of maybe say there's something that I need to dig into, then of course I will delegate and ensure that the team is able to look further into the infrastructure and be able to map out if we have any occurrences of any potential software or vulnerabilities that could definitely be affecting our environment. So
Okay.
it's something that I would do on a daily. I do listen to, of course, security podcasts on a
Yeah.
daily, more of like as I go to work, try and understand what is basically within the community in terms of the latest exploits, the latest observations, security news, updates,
Yeah.
and yeah, majorly that's how I keep up. Then, of course, I do also build threat scenarios to definitely try and emulate most of these I would say vulnerabilities that have been shared to ensure that we actually have proper proof of concepts
Hmm.
for any new sightings or any new vulnerabilities that may not even be affecting us, but we need, of course, to understand from an IOC and TTP point of view that we have vast knowledge around these evolving and new threats, and also how we can also, of course, be able to understand them. Because with this knowledge, we're able to, of course, incorporate or introduce some new signatures in our environment. Because, of course, we do IOC mapping to ensure that we have at least visibility for if there are any scenarios that out of the normal traffic flow, we're able to pick them up with within the least amount of time. So yeah, we're always definitely trying to ensure that our time to detect and respond is as small as possible.
Wonderful. It seems you guys are constantly on fire on your toes. You don't have time to rest. Now, with your busy schedule, how do you maintain your relationship with friends and family?
Well, I spend my weekends playing CTFs and definitely the evenings hacking boxes, I should say. And most of the times we find that we, of course, create small tracks and small objectives within each other and be
Yeah.
like, maybe we need to complete this new challenge that has come out. And you find that everyone is interested, everyone locks in maybe on a Friday night. Instead of
Yeah.
going out, everyone is like locked in on like, let's try and definitely understand what this is. So I definitely find interest in so much problem solving, and definitely I have been able to infect some of my family members with the same passion, I should say. So most of the times I
Okay.
am definitely in the lab or doing something. I definitely have a few people asking me this and that, and
Yeah.
you definitely just find yourself discussing majorly either if it's not security or you know basically tech related stuff. And in terms of external relationships, normally just time management, I should say, because you try to ensure that at least you meet the people that you really want to spend time with, maybe like once or twice a month for like some really off the some tech detox kind of environment. So
Yeah.
it's been a very I think we've had a supportive system majorly around this development, and
Mm.
yeah, I think that's basically how I've been able to keep up.
That's very interesting on especially on the approach that you're taking, because other people will be like, during the weekends, I'll, let's say, switch off my phone. I don't want anything to do with work. I'll just focus with the family, etc. But your approach is quite interesting. So, Mr. Peter, before we go, can you please give us your final thoughts?
Well, my thoughts, definitely, I should say, in regards getting into cybersecurity for the new people. Do not be discouraged. Do not put yourself in a comparison kind of world where you're looking at the top security professionals in the world and their certifications and qualifications, and you start feeling like you can't get there. I believe the
Yeah,
learning curve is steep, um, getting into an advanced level. But of course, we've all definitely heard of the whole idea around learning. Um, you can be a fool for a few times that you ask, but of course, after that, you're not a fool anymore. So do not feel free, do not fear to challenge yourself because this is a very challenging field. Do not fear to ask because you can definitely accomplish something 10 times faster if you ask someone who has had experience before than when you try and sit on it for a long period of time and try to dive into it yourself. So, in regards starting out, I encourage you to start out if you need to. If you're in the Ugandan community, definitely there are communities around. Ubuntu is one of the major CTF teams that I know in the country. You can definitely try and reach out to the different people who are there. Of course, you
yeah,
find that these people have also been involved with like organizations of the PICO CTF over locally here over the past 2 years. So they definitely have a solid understanding of what it means to get into the cybersecurity environment from like a noob kind of angle. Then of course join a community in Nairobi. I know definitely the kings and queens of Nairobi. I should say the freaks. And of course,
yeah,
when you look at TZ or you look at Urinsec, and definitely these are all people that I would say have greatly built communities and are willing definitely to support because personally for me I find so much joy in teaching because that's how I learn. That's how I am continuously engaged and encouraged to actually keep doing what I'm doing because sometimes it gets so challenging because it's so demanding that you have to keep up. But when you see a young man trying to also get there, you're definitely encouraged to push. So it's been a very beautiful journey, and I hope that you guys can also pick up on how we started. And I hope that this podcast from my side has been informative to you as an individual or as a group. And I hope
yeah.
that you can continue learning and definitely wish you all the best in your journey.
Thank you very much, Mr. Peter, for a beautiful final thoughts. So before we go, I'm just going to give a little bit of a recap for our audience. So in today's discussion, we talked about the role of ICT security officer. So what you guys need to understand that this role is a managerial role. Secondly, is that once you get this role, you're going to be leading a team. So a group of people who are going to be under you for you to supervise. The other thing that we touched base was you need to have the technical skills, but also you need to have soft skills. So Mr. Peter mentioned some of the soft skills that people need in order to survive in this role. One of them being good communication skills, problem solving skills, multicultural skills, especially in those organizations which is multicultural. You need to be able to adapt depending on the environment that you are in. You need to be able to work under pressure, and most importantly, you need to have patience because everybody is going to have their own upbringings, own beliefs. So you need to have a huge amount of patience. Then we touch based on certifications. He mentioned that some of the certifications that you need are going to be OSCP and some certifications from CompTIA security certifications. his emphasis has mainly been on getting experience and knowing your staff. So that's very important, guys, if you need to get into this role. The other area that we touched base was if you're looking to dive into this role, these are some of the things that you need. So number one is database skills. You need to understand your architecture in general. You need to have a general understanding of GRC. You need to have management skills. And also, I already mentioned this initially, but your communication skills are also very important. So those are just a few skills that you're going to need in order to thrive in this position as Mr. Peter is in. So, Mr. Peter, thank you very much for being with us today on this episode. Your presence today has made an impact. I'm sure of that. And hopefully, you have inspired somebody. So, thank you very much. And I hope in the coming episodes, we are going to have you to talk on different areas of cybersecurity roles. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Karim, for your time. It's been a pleasure, and I wish you well. Cheers.
Cheers, brother.